session today using a chi ball and a theraband. If you haven't got a chi ball, a small pillow could replicate it. Maybe a children's soft toy, something like that. Otherwise, if you've got a chi ball, grab your chi ball and bring your chi ball to your mat. Theraband. If you've got a theraband, every now and then it's important to just double check your band. You're going to sort of slide your gaze down the end, make sure there are no little tears or bits and pieces in your band. You want your band to be nice and strong, and if there's a little tear in it and you put your foot in it, it risks actually breaking. So if your band's got a tear in it, throw it out and get a new one. Okay, chi ball and band. So band to the side for the moment, we're going to use it shortly. I'm going to put one on that side of the mat. Chi ball is the first piece we're going to use. So lying down on your back for me, take your little chi ball and tuck your little chi ball in between your knees. Chi ball between your knees is going to help your alignment. It's going to help keep the alignment of your knees in line with your hip bones and your second toes. It's going to create some adductor engagement, so the muscles on the inside of the thighs. When we place a little ball between your legs, it automatically helps you to do a little lift through pelvic floor. Don't need to think about any of those things. All those things are going to happen just by putting that little ball down between your knees. Feet are nice and straight, they're hip bone distance width apart. Shoulders nice and relaxed, and the arms down by your side. You could go palms up if you like, or palms down, doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for you. Gaze up towards the ceiling, so chin up off of your chest for me. We're just going to relax and take some nice big deep breaths. We're going to breathe in through our nose, and we're going to breathe out through our mouth. Big deep breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Do 5 of these. You've got 3 to go. Big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. 2 more for me. Big deep breath in and out. Last one for me. Big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to roll through some little pelvic tilts. Right now we've got a little arch underneath our back. That's our neutral spine. We're going to take a breath in, and as we breathe out, we're going to gently roll our pelvis backwards and allow our back to flatten into the mat. The little arch that was there has now disappeared. And then we're going to roll our pelvis forwards. We're going to let our back arch up off the mat. We're going to gently roll backwards. Our spine pushes and flattens into the mat. And then we're going to roll the pelvis forwards to let the back arch. So just keep forwards and backwards in your own time. As you roll backwards and your spine flattens, we're looking for a breath out. As you roll forwards and your back arches, we're looking for a breath in. Try not to overthink those breath patterns. Just make sure you are breathing. Head's going to move. Chin ducking into your chest. Chin going up towards the ceiling is all perfectly fine. Okay, one more each way. Gently roll the pelvis backwards, allow it to flatten into the mat. Roll the pelvis forwards and let the back arch. We're going to float that into a bridge. So leading with your pelvic tilt, roll your pelvis backwards, your back flattens, and then start to lift your hips right up off of the mat. Pause at the top and take a breath in, and then breathe out to articulate down through your spine 1 vertebrae at a time, and let your pelvis roll through neutral. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, pelvis rolls backwards, spine imprints, come up into your bridge, opening up through the front of your hips, and then slowly articulating down, breathing out all the way, and pelvis rolls through neutral. So keep bridging in your own time for me. Feet, make sure they're firmly on the mat for me. You've got even weight distribution across your feet from your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. Maintain your ribs funnel down towards your pelvis, so particularly when you get into the top of the bridge, we don't want your ribs to flare to the ceiling. So when you're at the top, you should be in a nice straight line, which would be from your ribs to your hips to your knees, and then nice and slowly all the way down. We're going to do 1 more. So breath in, breathe out to gently tip the pelvis backwards, allow the spine to imprint, come up into a nice long bridge, pause at the top, take a breath in, and then slowly, slowly down. Each vertebrae comes down 1 at a time, and then your pelvis rolls through neutral. All right. Take your little chi ball, just put it onto the side but keep hold of it for me. You're going to reach over and going to grab your band. You're going to take your band and you're just going to rest the band in the crease of your thumbs. So you're not gripping it, it's just sort of sitting in the crease of your thumbs. Your band is shoulder width distance apart, so it's not too wide. Your hands should be directly above your shoulders. Start by taking your band down and resting it on your legs. First thing we're going to do is think about our rib to hip connection. So that is the distance that's between the bottom rib and our pelvic bone. We could actually measure that using our hand. Thumb on the bottom of your ribs, fingertip on the pelvic bone, that's your rib to hip distance. We want to keep that distance the same size. We don't want that distance to get any bigger. We're going to maintain that by switching your abdominal muscles on. So we've got our band resting in the crease of our thighs. We've taken a moment to think about our rib to hip connection. Keeping that connection, we're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to float our arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to take them as far as we can without losing our rib to hip connection. So there's a point when your ribs are going to start to move and that gap's going to get bigger. That's where you stop. And then slowly bring the band back and touch it down on your thighs. So we're going to inhale breath first. And as we breathe out, we float the band to the ceiling, taking it over the top of the head. We're keeping our rib to hip connection. And we're going to bring it all the way back down. We're going to do one more like that, and then we're going to add another little thought to the mix. So breath in, breathe out, float the band to the ceiling, taking it above your head, and then bring it all the way down. Okay, pause for a moment. If pulling out on your band like this is 110%, I want you to pull out on your band 10%, maybe even 5%. So it's a little pull out. That pull out of your band has switched all your back muscles on. We're going to repeat the same exercise with that little pull out. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, band comes to the ceiling, taking it over the top of your head. Remembering rib to hip connection for me. And then bring it back down and rest it down on your thighs. Okay, we're going to go again. Breath in, breathe out, band comes to the ceiling. We've got a gentle engagement, 10%, and our rib to hip connection is nice and stable. And band back down to touch your thighs. I'm going to do 3 more of these. Inhaling first, exhale, back you go. Nice long arm, focusing on those specific little bits and pieces. And then bring them back down to touch your thighs. You might find you're getting a little bit further each time. You might not be. Every day might be different. 2 more. Back you go. Rib to hip connection remains. Our tummy muscles are keeping that connection. And then bring it down. And then we've got 1 more. Breath in. Breathe out. Band up and over. And then bring it all the way back down to rest on your thighs. Take your little band, drop it on the side of your mat, somewhere where you can reach it. We're going to use it again in a minute. Pick up your little chi ball and just hold it in your hand for me. Okay, some dead bugs using our ball. So, right now we have that little arch underneath our back. We're going to start without the ball and then we're going to add with the ball. So, pelvis stays still. So we know what it moves like to move our pelvis forwards and backwards. We were just doing that in our pelvic tilts and our bridges. Now keeping the pelvis stable and still, leading with the left leg, you're going to take a breath in and you're going to breathe out to float your left leg up to 90 degrees without any movement through your pelvis, and then you're going to lower the leg down. We're going to alternate sides. We're going to float the right leg up to 90 degrees without any movement through the pelvis, and then you're going to bring it back down. So you're going to alternate sides in your own time. Take your time, keep your pelvis nice and still, focus on the control in your torso, and let your breath help you to move. So as you float your leg up, we're looking for an exhale breath. As you bring it down, try and inhale. That will be ready. Make sure you're ready to go for the next leg. 1 more on each side. Float the leg up for me, pelvis is nice and stable and still. And then lower down. Last one for me. Float the leg up. And then bring it down. Okay, sometimes our hip flexors, the muscles in the front of our legs, help us to do that exercise. We're now going to eliminate that. So we're going to take the ball, and we're going to stick it on behind one knee. So, let's just do a couple of alternate legs to show you what I mean. So with the leg Start with the leg that's got the ball. Take a breath in, breathe out to float the leg up for me. Now you're not going to be able to get your shin to a 90-degree position because you're holding the ball, but we do want your thigh and your torso to come to a 90 degrees. So don't bring it too far in, and then lower it down. And do the same on the right hand side and see if you can feel a difference. Does the front of your leg help you on your right hand side? Let's go again. Float the left leg up with the ball and then lower it down. One more on the right. Then we're just going to stick with the left leg for the moment. We'll do 6 on the left leg. Take a breath in, breathe out to float the left leg up and then lower it down. Exhale to lift the left leg up. Inhale to lower it down. Keep going for me. Pelvis stays nice and still. Try not to let it wobble backwards and forwards. If you can maintain that stability, you're using much more of your abdominal muscles, deep abdominal muscles, to maintain the stability through your pelvis. Let's do 2 more. Float the leg up, lower it down. Your gaze should still be up towards the ceiling with a nice neutral spine. Last one. And then down. Okay, reach down, grab the chi ball, put that foot down, the chi ball underneath the other knee. So it's now under my right leg. I'm going to work my right leg only. We're going to do 6. Breath in first, breathe out to float the right leg up. My thigh becomes to a right angle to my body, and then I lower that foot down. As you lift and lower, just work in your own time. Pelvis is stable and still. And you can even take a moment to think about the opposite knee. What's happening with your left leg? Is it still? Is your knee pointing towards the ceiling? Has it got a bit of a wobble in it? Can you keep that leg still? Shoulders are staying nice and relaxed, no tension. Use your breath to help you. Let's do 2 more. Breathing out to lift and lower. And last one. And lower. Right, grab your little ball. Little ball has a little white plug in the end of it. Take the little white plug out and decrease the air in the ball by about 1/3. Put the little white plug back in. Lift your hips, take your little ball and tuck it underneath your pelvis. So we've now put you on something wobbly. Yeah? If you hate this feeling, just get rid of the ball. Arms down by your side. They're going to help you a little bit. Same movement. Pelvis staying nice and still. Imagine we've dropped a spirit level across the hips here and you want you to keep that on the level, nice and stable. Leading with your left leg. Take a breath in, breathe out to float the left leg up to 90 degrees. And then lower it down. Alternate sides this time for me. So when we stick you on something wobbly, it also decreases the ability for your hip flexors to lift. Now if this feels uncomfortable or you experience any pain, you can take the ball out and revisit this exercise later. Core control is required to help stabilise through your pelvis. You might feel it wobbling around. If you're feeling nice and comfortable and you've mastered it, you can float your arms up off of the floor. Don't need to float your arms up off the floor. If you float them up off of the floor and you hate that feeling, then put them back down on the floor. If you're feeling nice and comfortable with your arms floated up off of the floor, then you can take your arms to the ceiling and keep going. So there's some progressions. The idea is to stabilise through the hips, stabilise through the pelvis and the hips, and just float the leg up. Stomach muscles have to help that stability. Oops, got a bit of a wobble then. Make sure you're breathing. Okay, you got 1 more on each side. Float the leg up with control. Arms in any one of those 3 positions. Last one. Pause at the bottom. Lift your hips up for me. Take that little chi ball out from underneath your hips and then lower your hips all the way down. Take a little plug back out from the ball. Give the ball a little bit of a jiggle and the air will end up back in the ball. Put the little plug back in the ball and then take that ball and tuck it in between your knees for me. Okay? So you're holding onto it with your knees again. First thing we're going to do is some gentle squeezes. So you're going to squeeze the ball with your knees and then you're going to let it relax. So you're squeezing the ball with your knees and relax. So we're working your inner thighs. Gentle squeeze and relax. As you squeeze, try and breathe out. Don't overthink the breath pattern here, and relax. Feet are firmly down on the ground. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Gaze still up towards the ceiling. Okay, let's do 3 more. Gentle squeeze and relax. Exhale to squeeze and relax. And 1 more. Okay. Keep the ball between your legs, but no massive squeezing. So just holding it. Take your hands and interlace them behind your head. So you've made little interlace hands, but you're not gripping for dear life. Elbows are nice and wide. Imagine your elbows are trying to touch the opposite sides of the room. We're going to come into some little chest lifts. So you can take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to lift your head, neck and shoulders up, and you're going to take your gaze down to the bottom of your chi ball. And then you're going to lower yourself down. So you inhale first, exhale to lift, gaze down to the bottom of our chi ball, and then we lower down. So we come up into that little chest lift. We've got nice, broad, wide elbows. Where your eyes go, your body will go. That's why we're cueing looking at the bottom of the ball. As you come up, your spine flattens. You can feel your spine just gently pushing into the mat. If you're feeling it coming into your neck, I want you to stop. If you're feeling your head getting heavy in your hands, I want you to stop. That means your tummy muscles are a little tired. Breathe out as you come up and lower down. Okay, we've got 2 to go. Inhale first, exhale to lift, gaze down to the bottom of your ball and lower down. And last one. And down. Rest there, grab your little ball, take it between your knees and put it on the floor next to you. The band, pick up the band that you had on the side of you. Take your band and place 1 foot into your band. As much as possible, try and make that band flat on your foot, so you don't want it too scrunched up. We want to hold onto one side of that band in each of your hands and rest your elbows down on the floor. So we don't want you like this. We want your elbows down the floor. Opposite leg, stretch it out long and straight for me and flex that foot. So those toes are pulled towards your nose. Some circles for me. So we're going to go across the body. We're going to take our leg down to the bottom of the mat. We're going to come out towards the side and back up to the top. We're going to inhale as we go across our body, and we're going to exhale to come around and up. You've got a little bit of tension on your band, but you're not hanging on to it for dear life. Your shoulders are staying on the mat. Your head is staying still on the mat. You're not rocking and rolling around through the top part of the body. That right leg of yours, or the other leg of yours, that foot is still flexed and that foot is still. And you're breathing. Nice big deep breaths. We're going to do 2 more circles in this direction, and then we're going to reverse these circles. We're looking for nice, round, smooth movements. When you get to the top, pause, change direction. Leg out towards the side, around and up. You can let them flow. Whilst you're letting them flow, think about what's happening with your opposite leg. Try and keep it nice and still. Nice big deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Nice round circles, nice and smooth. Let's do 2 more. And last one. And then you're going to pause at the top. You're going to keep your leg long and straight, and you're going to bring your foot towards your face as much as you can without hurting yourself. Try to maintain the straightness in your leg, try not to bend it. And then you're going to push your heel to the ceiling and pull your toes to your nose. So it's going to give you a bit more of a calf stretch. If you want more hamstring stretch, point your toes to the ceiling. Otherwise, toes towards your nose, getting that lovely stretch through the back of your leg. Hold onto your band with your opposite hand. So my left foot is in the band, so I'm holding onto the band with my right hand. My left arm comes out towards the side to give me a bit of stability, and I'm taking my leg across my body, and I'm getting a big stretch down through the outside of my hip. The closer that band becomes towards my face, the more intense that stretch could be. You can drop it down a bit, but I do want you to feel the stretch. Okay, leg back up towards the ceiling, take it out towards the other side. This may not feel like much of a stretch to you at all. Sometimes people are not too tight in those inner thighs, but we did work our inner thighs, squeezing that ball, so we're just going to stretch them out. Okay, we're going to carefully untangle ourselves out of the band. We're going to stretch both legs out long and straight. We're going to feel the difference. Just take a moment to feel the difference between your legs. So, your leg might feel longer. In fact, it might be longer. The front of your leg might feel flatter. And again, in fact, it may be flatter. Your lower back on this side, you might find that more of it is resting down on the mat as opposed to the other side where it's it's sort of higher up and lifted still up off of the mat. So just stretch the leg muscles out. We've made them work to do it. We stretch out our psoas that goes into our lower back. We stretch out all our hip flexor muscles. Second leg, we need to even up. So foot back into the band as straight as you can. Try not to curl up too much, it might hurt your foot too much. Elbows down on the floor. Okay, other leg, foot is flexed, so pull your toes to your nose, and when you're ready, start your circles. By pulling your toes to your nose of your leg that is on the floor, it helps you to stabilise that leg. Helps you to keep it still. When your toes are pulled towards your nose, the muscles in the back of your leg are switched on, they're engaged. So that left leg is working as well as the right leg. Nice round circles for me, shoulders nice and relaxed, gaze towards the ceiling. Let's do 2 more and then we'll change the direction. Okay, pause at the top, other way around. Nice and round, try not to let your torso roll around too much. Keep that opposite leg nice and still. Use your breath to help you, inhaling and exhaling. Think of stability through the upper body. Okay, 2 more circles, then we'll go into those 3 stretches. Last one, pause at the top. Okay, foot towards your face as much as you can manage. Don't want it to hurt, but we do want it to stretch. Toes towards your nose if you like, to get that extra depth through the back of your calf. If it's too much, back it off. Okay, bands going into the opposite hand, leg going across the body for me. Remember, the closer that foot is to your face, the more intense that stretch will be. Make it stretch, but don't make it hurt. And then you got 1 more to the other side, inner thigh stretch, let the leg drop out towards the side. Nice big deep breaths. Okay, 1 more breath pattern here. And then leg to the ceiling, untangle yourself out of your band, and just drop your band down by your side. Okay, we're going to do some book openings, but our focus on our book openings is our scapular stability. So, what am I talking about? I've lost my ball. Okay, roll onto your side for me. Tuck the little ball between your knees. Head resting in on your arm, or you could have a pillow underneath your head. Even though your head's resting on your arm, your gaze is out in front of you. So I don't want you to curl forwards. Top arm is out in front of you. So yes, your book openings give you a lovely stretch through the front of your chest, but we actually want to focus on some little scapular stability. So ball between your knees is going to help keep your pelvis still. Then take a breath in, and you're going to breathe out to bring your arm to the ceiling, and you're going to let your gaze follow your hand. And then you're going to bring your arm back to the floor. And we're going to go again. Arm comes to the ceiling, that shoulder blade glides into the middle of our spine, and then bring it back to the floor. Okay, thinking about the shoulder blade. Arm comes to the ceiling, shoulder blade glides into our spine. See if you can take that arm further back without that scapula moving too much. And then bring your arm to the ceiling and bring it back to the floor. Okay, you're going to go again. So arm comes to the ceiling, scapula is stable, shoulder blade is still, and then back you go. And then bring it all the way back to the floor. Okay, 3 more. Inhale first, exhale, arm comes to the ceiling, scapula is still, and then back you go. To the floor, 2 more. Gaze goes with it still, so you're watching your thumb. Scapula stable, back you go. And 1 last one. Inhaling first, exhale, arm to the ceiling, scapula stable, and back you go. Bring it back to the floor. Okay, changing sides. I'm actually going to roll to the other side so you can see my shoulder blade. Ball back between your knees, head on your arm out in front. Take a breath in, breathe out to bring the arm to the ceiling. So you're just coming to the ceiling to begin with. Let's get the pattern in our brain. Inhale first, exhale, arm to the ceiling. Okay, so now we're going to add on. Arm to the ceiling, scapula still, and back you go. So I'm trying not to let my shoulder blade glide further in towards my spine. And bring it all the way back to the floor. Inhale first, exhale, arm comes to the ceiling, trying to stabilise through that scapula, and then back I go. and then go back to the floor. We've got 3 to go. Inhale first, exhale up, stabilize, back. Nice. And 2 more. Inhale first, exhale, up you go, stabilize. Last one. Inhale first, up to the ceiling, stabilize. Back to the floor. Take your little chi ball from between your knees, put it on the floor next to you. Use your hand to gently push yourself up. Come up to sitting. You're going to sit up nice and still for me, and you're going to stretch your legs out long and straight. You're going to take your legs a little bit wider apart, maybe the width of your mat, and you're going to sit up nice and tall, so right up on your sit bones, okay? Hands are down in front of you, trying to keep your hips where they are, so trying not to let them rock forwards and backwards. So thinking of grounding through your sit bones. Little tuck of your chin to your chest, so you're looking towards your mat, you're not jamming your chin in, it's just a little tuck. Little scoop of the belly backwards, and then slide your hands along the mat. Come forwards to me, but remember those sit bones are still. And then come back up and sit up nice and tall. So, breath in, breathe out, chin to chest, little scoop of the belly backwards, and slide your hands along the mat, along the floor. Should feel a big stretch through your back, and then back up you come. Remember your sit bones are glued to your mat. We're going to add a little pulse. Breathe in first, chin to chest, scoot forwards, down you go, hold here, pulse your arms 3 times. So pulse 1, 2, 3, come all the way back up and sit up nice and tall. We're going to do 3 of these. We're going to go again. Inhale, chin to chest, little scoop of the belly, back. Down you go. Pulse 1, 2, 3. Remember your sit bones are nice and still. Come back up and sit up nice and tall. You've got 1 to go. Inhale, chin, scoop of the belly backwards, forwards you go. Sit bones are glued. 3 pulses for me. You might find you're getting further each time, but your sit bones are still. Go back up, sit up tall, and relax for a second. Okay, we're going to leave our band on the floor. We're going to leave our ball on the floor. We're going to come up to standing. We're going to do a little bit of balance work and a little bit of heel raises. So when you're standing, you want to stand with your feet hip bone distance width apart, so not too wide for me. Remember, you can put your feet completely together and then make a little V and lift your heels up, and then your heels become in line with your hip bones. Okay, a couple of things to think about with your heel raises, slow and controlled. So first of all, just float up onto your tippy toes if you can, and then slowly lower down. So just get the movement happening. You might have your fingertips on the back of a chair, you might have your fingertips on a foam roller, you might be holding onto the wall if the wall is closest to you, or you might be doing it free like I am. As you float up and down, you want to go with control. So the down, we want to control the down as much as we control the up. So when we come up onto our tippy toes, our calf muscle switches on, it engages. When we lower down, we're trying to get that calf muscle to strengthen back out. So if as you go down, you feel that your heels are on a rush to get to the floor and you're just sort of flopping down, then try and go down nice and slowly and lengthen through your calves. So that flop down is an indication that your calves may be too tight. If you're finding this dead easy, close your eyes. If you feel unsafe, open your eyes. You don't need to close your eyes, team. That's just another option. Got 1 more. And slowly lower down. With all balance work, if you keep your gaze on something that's not moving, it does help. Right. So let's go to standing on 1 leg. Before we do that, we're going to make a little diamond, and we're going to place that little diamond on our hips. So my hands are roughly around my hip bones, and I've got the shape of a diamond made with my pointer fingers and my thumbs. I'm going to attempt to keep my diamond in a diamond shape. This will make sense in a minute. So you're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to transfer your weight into 1 leg, and you're going to bring your opposite leg up off of the floor, trying to maintain your diamond shape. And then you're going to lower your leg down. Transfer to the other side, float your leg up, trying to maintain your diamond shape, and then lower your leg down. Do one more on each side. Transfer the weight, lift the leg up for me, and then lower it down. One more, transfer and lift, and lower down. You can let your hands drop to your side, but remember your diamond. If you can maintain your diamond, then you're not twisting through your hip bones. So find a spot on the wall that's not moving. Try not to look through a window or a tree, for instance. Focus on something that's still, and then lift the leg up, and then lower it down. Changing sides, transfer the weight, lift the leg up, and lower it down. If you are still standing on your mat and you're struggling a bit, step onto the floor. Your mat might be a bit spongy. Lift and lower. If you're feeling comfortable with this, you could hold it for more than one breath. Otherwise, you're just holding it for one breath each time and stabilizing still. Let's do two more on each side. The very last one, we'll add another breath. So float up, breathe in and out, lower down, other side, float up, breathe in and out, lower down, one more on each side, float up, breathe in and out twice if you can, keep your eyes on your spot, and lower down, and last one, float up, breathe in and out, stay here for two of them if you can, and lower down. I'm going to finish with just a nice little gentle stretch. I'm going to do mine on my tippy toes. You can stay with your feet flat on the floor, either is fine. Stand nice and tall, shoulders are nice and relaxed. You're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to come onto your tippy toes if you like, or you're staying flat footed. Your arms coming out to the side, your arms are coming up to the ceiling if that's comfortable for you today. As you lower yourself down, your arms are going to come out towards the side, and again, we're still trying to move those heels with control. Take a breath in, breathe out. If you exhale as you come up, you're going to help maintain your rib to hip connection and that intra-abdominal pressure. So it'll help you stabilize. One more, inhale first, exhale. And slowly lower down. Once you're down, you're going to give your shoulders a bit of a roll. And you're going to roll them the other way. Lovely. And you're going to relax. I hope you enjoyed that session. As always, you know where to find me. If you have any queries, just drop me a line. Have a good day.